Hello and welcome to the show. Now, I know everyone's going to watch this and get really into this first trade. All the new people who watch this video that haven't watched videos before, thanks for that donation, Dashi. All these people who maybe if you're new, if you've not watched me before, you're going to watch this next trade setup, probably then run away off and start planning to take it, even though markets will be shut, and you'll be focused on this thing and nothing else. But please at least hit the like button. It would be even better if you watch it for the rest of the video and hit subscribe. Well, sweet, there it goes on the printer. If you ever want to get in touch, links below, you'll see them on the screen. Now, we're getting into this chart. There's a number of trades. Get into this chart and then you tell me what you think of this setup in the chat box and the comments below if you're watching later. And then we'll cover SPY, GameStop, AMC, and others. And testing at around 236 potentially if you break out of this formation in around 170. Next target being back up around 230, 236. Wow. And if that breaks, then you're just going to come up and test the horizontal level of the formation I'm talking about, 330. That's a massive move. At that stage, you're talking about 100+%. And if you manage to break there, which at some point you're going to, you'll return to this area, which is also a golden pocket, rocky outcrop flash, a 1618 extension, and a 300% move from where targets, just from where this simple little trade that's evolving at the minute with a healthy risk-reward ratio all of its own after it made this impulse move to the top side, and subsequently putting in a bullishly engulfing formation here on the daily time frame. Can't argue with that. Not at all, right? So that's what we're looking at in terms of SPY time frame. Have to agree those candles very bullish at the minute, so you wouldn't be betting against it. And on the daily, if price action does come back down, test of that 236 be confluent with this rocky outcrop flash. So at some stage, SPY may return to these levels. SPX likewise, obviously. And so the inflection that we're looking at now, potentially SPY moving to the top side, the sooner that starts happening, the better. The evolution of that narrative then gathers pace. Opportunities multiply as they are seized, as Sun Tzu put it. Hit that like button. I hope you're still watching after seeing that 300% trade, because it's obviously qualified with the SPY direction and how we see things going there. Thank you so very much. Now we're going to get on to GameStop, which similar to SPY, positive move today, 1.5%, closing at 22.40. And persisting within these levels we've drawn here, marked by 382, which is in at around $21.80. Low today, $21.77. And then top side of that, $22.75, which is an important level looking left. Wow, we got it drawn on the daily time frame. We're not seeing absolutely everything, but I have it drawn, so it means something. 382, 236 then is where you're aiming for if things are positive, 23.73. On the daily time frame, 200 period moving average back up at 26. So interesting levels, the moving average not exactly at support and resistance. Down to the 4 hour, you've tested that 200 period moving average. And what we were discussing yesterday, after Nick put in that generous donation and asked about GameStop, was could we consider the test of the 200 period moving average a bounce? That wasn't exactly what he was saying, but it was there, part of the implication. And you could now look at that and say with the 4 hour reaction, you would say it is a bounce, especially when you look at the confluence on the RSI, holding the center line. This formation also representing a strong level of support, even though it is within the prior gap due to those two technical artifacts. So holding the 382 then, that would also be a bullish retracement. Moving back to the top side, you could look at tiny little extension targets using this sort of thing, right? 1.13 in at around 27.97, 28 bucks. SPY does test up at around 416, 418. You'd be well looking at this level, thinking that was well within reason. And if you did break above it, then you've got this really important target at 34, 35 bucks, which I think is crucial for GameStop. And that you can see is intermittent within these extension targets. So you could certainly go beyond those levels, get quite exciting. If you look left and see a previous extension, 1.13 coming in at 56, prior high, that's another important area. And if we break out of this downward sloping channel, before you could consider price action to be really bullish long term, you'd have to look to support and resistance on the charts. And this is an important high. You go back up to, say, weekly time frame, you still don't lose that importance. These peaks across price action, heartbreakers. This is 34, 35 bucks. That's the next high you'd aim to. You break out this downward sloping diagonal, you would immediately look to the next horizontal of importance, weekly time from 550, might peter out around 660, 670. I say that because that's what it's done previously. Squeak, 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 squeak. Some WD-40 on the old chair there. Sean, yo, are you surprised? You see, if you're at Tradespotting, I'd much more likely catch your message. The fact that I've seen it is just coincidence. Sean says, are you surprised in the positivity around GME given the FTX implosion where a lot of people had hoped future growth beyond the brick and mortar would lie? FTX were a scam from the beginning, and everybody who's here knew it because Rocky Outcrop and Tubes and other people with him investigated it long before Charlie or CoffeeZilla or any of the stuff on the Reddit broke out news about it. Everyone here was well aware of it, and like that also affected this channel negatively because as soon as the partnership was announced, both Rocky and I came out and said that this is morally incompatible with the investment thesis that both of us hold surrounding GameStop, and we felt that was quite a dampener, and it was. And maybe in the closed, siloed community, some people thought that was a great idea, but it was perceived by a grand group of, let's say grand in the Latin, like big group of people who were not necessarily focused exclusively on GameStop, but are very motivated by the social investment sphere. They saw, as we did, that that was perhaps a negligent move. That was a bad mistake from GameStop, and it was good that that partnership has been dissolved and that GameStop are well away from them. It's also fantastic news that we didn't, like GameStop didn't lose any deposits or payments or large funds through the collapse of FTX. Thank goodness, right? That was a massive blessing. And now that that whole thing's being like leaving the news cycle, I think that that overall is a good effect. It'll have a decompressing effect on the GameStop price. And that's positive news, I think, especially with all their nefarious activities with regards to tokenized stocks. I think that that was just a huge hole in the ground, and I'm glad that that's been filled in. So super positive about the evolution of that. And what was the rest of the question? And then a lot of people had hoped future growth. Yeah, future growth beyond brick and mortar is the marketplace, the digital marketplace. That's going to count for a significantly larger degree of sales going forward, which will reduce the aggregate cost of sales. And then eventually GameStop will evolve into a different accounting principles that suits its balance sheet. And it'll be justified a much higher valuation with much more rational multiples of its sales because of the low cost of them and the nature of growth in that marketplace. So GameStop itself will have a much higher valuation because it has proprietary control over that digital marketplace than it would through any partnership with FTX. And GameStop's brand is already fantastic and can easily grow into this nascent esports marketplace itself, still volatile, and over the last couple of years has actually on aggregate gone down, which is leaving a massive opportunity for GameStop because it's clearly a growth market. So I think GameStop are well positioned. And we say brick and mortar, but in GameStop as it transitioned to a totally new company with a new board, completely different set of investors. These people are looking at GameStop. Thanks so much. I'll check that in 2 seconds. These people, thanks so much. I can't do these shows without support like that. So it's a totally different company. It's a totally different multiple, and it's rational, makes sense, and it's well signposted by GameStop. So I'm very confident in the news recently and think that everything with regards to brick and mortar and GameStop, since the new company, you know, the way Tradespotting talks about it, sorry, third person, is the brick and mortar of GameStop should be looked at as not expensive outlets that don't meet their own cost base, but the future of a national distribution network, which is a fantastic, massive asset, right? It's worth money. It's worth paying for. But GameStop have those costs subsidized by all the things they sell in the brick and mortar, right? Which is just used as a derogatory term, right? They didn't come up with brick and mortar back when they were building straw houses to, wow, the benefit of this brick and mortar, piggies. No, it's just nowadays trying to be snobby about your business investments. It's a term used by people who don't understand whether they're investing value or growth. And they, it's just a misnomer. And the people who use it are yet to properly consider their own articulation, which is fine. And we all go through periods like that. So, and that's one of the benefits of this movement, this social investment target in GameStop, is that so many people are invested in this are really young and are leveling up their financial knowledge to better than 2-3 generations of their own family. That sort of thing. It's a magnificent, glorious movement. It's going to change the world off these tiny little decisions that some people like Ranko and Roaring Kitty and you've made. It's amazing. It's an unheard of phenomenon. The only thing that's even remotely close to it is this movement in cryptocurrency, and it can't, because it's so disparate and spread across so many different points of impact, can't necessarily have the same impact as, say, GameStop and what might come from idiosyncratic risk. So I don't think that I care about brick and mortar. Shout out to Wiki Wilkes. This is his trade from Discord. If you're not a member of Discord, get over there. It's free. This is Wiki Wilkes. You can get it better if you pay to get on the paid side, but it's free, so you should just be there. I can't have it. Add it to your add it to your Monday milk, yo. So price action here, persistent at the top side. It needs to break that level back up at 103. Hit it a couple of times. It has to do its own thing, and that's the start of something there. So not only the start, though, and I don't trust it as far as I can throw it, and I can't throw it. I can't throw it at all. How far are you and the beasties? How is the beastly? How is the beast? QT's got a huge beast. Tradespotting. My membership message was a super serial question. What was it saying? I didn't see it. What was the membership message? Is it in the chat box up here? There it is. I missed it. Am I a bad doomslayer? Yes. If I looked at the BAC 1 week chart, drew a parallel channel, then bought some. Oh, no. Oh, well, I mean, yeah, I'm not going to argue with this, actually. You've got your flash there on the weekly. Oh, what a... Did it point at the web address for this indicator, www.patreon.com/rocketcrop. With that, you also get access to the best trading Discord going. And you can draw that support line. Third touch of it, not managed to go away from it significantly. If you're doing this trade, conceptualizing it on the weekly, then you'd hard pressed to choose a better high than that, and your target is $30 before the risk changes. That's in at around the previous lows. So is previous support now resistance? We'll find out at $30 down to the daily. 200 period moving average, $33. So if you reach it, another 10% on price action makes for a good trade. Managing your risk well, you've got a bullish candlestick formation. So what was I talking about? Yeah, the IBO. Yeah, but you're probably looking at this asking me, is it an opportunity? Look left, you have your stop around 1.08. Beyond that level, right, pull back. There's a gap there, so if you were to start moving into that, chances are you come back and test in at around, just back below $1. 50% retracement would also be confluent with that, and you're just below a 382 at the minute. So it's very possible, if you break down, that the move from here, i.e. 1.23, if your breakdown continues, then you're coming down to test just below $1. If this is support, as you potentially speculating, that's what's got you interested, your stop should be in at around 1.08, and you're looking for a move that breaks back above 150. 164 would be very positive. Then you'd come up and test the top side of this channel. Likely you'd get a quick test of 211. If the 211 breaks, which is very tough, right? Very, very tough to say 211 is going to break, because this previous level of resistance here back above it, right, having slipped. You move back up, I think I was trying to talk about this, right? So when you go through this sort of section here, with these highs and lows in this channel, right, no matter how many touches or whatever you get, as long as there's 3 on each side, you've closed this gap and you're questioning the trend, and you moved back up to the next level of inflection on price, which was when you broke down again here. So that's what we got, a double test of that, which afterwards is perfectly understandable that you would see a test of this horizontal level of support, right? Is this new trend still intact? Well, that would be how you test it. And then the result of a successful test would be a really good trade for yourself. So that's what you're looking at, price action moving up to those levels. Those are a good place to manage your risk. And the reason that you would probably be weary of that breaking beyond your stop level is because of this other gap here. And how many tests do you need of a bullish trend, right? Of a bullish trend, how many tests do you need of conviction? That's the question, right? And it answers itself, doesn't it? And that's very much the personality type you find here, right? And if you don't know what that means, you will do if you last a little bit watching these videos. So if you only tuned in, one of the new people who do get recommended this videos, because I see on the stats there that new people, every video I do, someone new watches, and it might just be one, it might just be you. And if you're still watching now, having seen the great trade at the beginning, and that's what piqued your interest, thanks. And if you're not even considering yourself as a type A personality who wants to be a trader, you'll grow into that person if you stick around for a few more episodes. And if you also watch Rocky Outcrop, you'll get there a lot quicker. So thanks very much for supporting the show, Jonathan. You're doing a lot to help me, and I've got big goals. So I appreciate everybody who helps me, because it's not going to be easy. Much harder than you might expect. Thanks so much, Sean, Jonathan, Dashi. Thank you for supporting the stream today.